What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So in this video, I had a pretty interesting discussion I had to go over, and I also did want to see what you guys thought about this. So we all do know we did get Need for Speed Hot Pursuit Remastered, which was obviously the previous one that was going to be remastered. But you know what my question is? What do you guys think the next Need for Speed game that could get remastered is actually going to be, and could that actually happen? Now, the one thing I did want to talk about here is we obviously do know there's going to be a few Need for Speed games that are most likely going to be on everyone's mind. I do feel like Underground 1 and 2 might have a slight possibility of being remastered, even though I feel like these games are probably going to be on a more of a rare side type of thing compared to like Most Wanted, which I would probably say most players go, well, if they did remaster Underground 1 and 2, are we going to have all the old music in there? Are we going to have the old cars in there? Is the licensing going to play a factor? Which at this point I could probably admit though, all of those questions are most likely going to be fairly valid, especially with most of these games most likely going through a similar issue. Number one is probably going to be Most Wanted 05, which I think we can all say that would probably be the most popular Need for Speed game if it was remastered, and insanely enough, even to this day, it's still probably one of the most popular Need for Speed games in general. But I would like to know though, which Need for Speed game, and I mean any of them for that matter, would you guys like to see remastered if it was ever to happen? Now, to be honest, I would say Most Wanted 05 again would probably be the most popular one because, you know, everybody loved that game. It was obviously one of the best Need for Speed games ever made. And the other crazy part to me, though, is we are legit going to be 20 years after Most Wanted came out next November. So I'm wondering if they might do something with it for like a 20-year anniversary, but who knows? Again, only time will end up telling on it. The next Need for Speed game after Most Wanted, though, was Need for Speed Carbon. That actually came out in 2006. Would you guys like to see a remaster of Carbon over Most Wanted? I do feel like obviously each game was going to be great in their own way, and they did obviously introduce their own things to it. There is one thing I have to say though. I did not get a chance to play 05 that much because I did put around 5 or 6 hours into it, and then unfortunately when I got back onto the game, you know, that was on PlayStation 2, unfortunately it did actually end up getting corrupted, and I was like, man, so I tried it again. The game actually got corrupted a second time, and I was like, you know what, bro? I'm just not going to keep doing this. I tried it a third time, and of course, after I got around an hour in, it corrupted again. Now, it probably could have been the disc, I don't know, because that was going to be a bit older back on the PlayStation 2. I don't know if it was going to be the memory card I had, but regardless though, I did not get a big chance to play Most Wanted. Even though I have heard a lot of great things about that game, I did actually play that at my friend's house a few times, and it was dope. After that though, moving over to the next Need for Speed, we had Pro Street, which came out in 2007. This was actually a good Need for Speed. I did like it. Yes, the game obviously had some flaws to it. I'm really thinking about going back into some of these old Need for Speed games. Like, not even kidding, guys, I might pick up a PlayStation 2 and a PlayStation 3 and also start doing some videos in the future on some of these old racing games. Do let me know if you guys would be interested in some of that coming out in the future. To be honest, I would actually say that would be pretty dang fun. But what are some of your negatives and positives about Need for Speed Pro Street? Did you guys like it? Would you like to see this game being remastered in the Need for Speed franchise? Personally, I would say players are going to be like, no, blocked. We don't want Pro Street. We probably want Carbon or Most Wanted more. But again, let me know what you guys think about that in the comments below. And then for the next Need for Speed on the list came out in 2008. That is going to be Need for Speed Undercover, which funnily enough at this point is probably going to be one of the most and also one of the worst rated Need for Speed games out of all of them. I would actually say in some things I have seen with a list Undercover was actually going to be slightly above Most Wanted 2012 and how players hated it. But would you guys actually like to see a remaster on this one? I would almost guarantee most people are going to be like, ha, no bro, we don't want to see Undercover. And the funniest part about this though is every single review and things I have seen online basically said the exact same thing. This was obviously probably going to be one of the worst Need for Speed games, and I highly doubt they're actually going to do some type of remaster on it, and if they did, oh man, that would be something, wouldn't it? The next Need for Speed game, though, I have to admit, I really did enjoy it. In 2009, we got Need for Speed Shift. This was obviously going to be completely focused on the racetrack part of it, and I did play this game back on the PlayStation 3. Like, I love this one, and I also remember some of the memories on this game. Like, for example, guys, one of my favorite cars in Need for Speed Shift was the Dodge Viper with the Works converted upgrade on it. Love that thing. It sounded insane, and I do remember it had like a crazy body kit and stuff on it. Man, you know what? I really might have to go buy another PS3, bro. I'm really tempted. But man, though, like, Shift was so fun. Also, one of my favorite races in that game was the figure 8 one, because getting through that entire 30 laps, I think it was an absolute nightmare. But man, was that such a blast trying to do. And also, not crashing on that figure 8 race was almost impossible. Such a great game, guys. Let me know your thoughts if you'd like to see Need for Speed Shift being remastered, or at least I guess you could say remade for that matter. Would you guys like to see it? Let me know your thoughts on that one in the comments below. The next Need for Speed on the list, though, is going to be Need for Speed World, which also came out in 2010, but this one was actually only going to be on the PC platform. So to be honest, I have not had a chance to play Need for Speed World, but do let me know what you guys think about that Need for Speed in the comments. Again, not really too familiar with that one. Then we obviously had Need for Speed Hot Pursuit, which was remastered, and it really made me think about which one is next. The next one after that, though, we had Need for Speed Shift 2 Unleashed, which came out in 2011. Would you guys like to see the second Need for Speed Shift remastered? To be honest, I would probably say the first one, at least for me, I guess, you know, in my opinion. I would probably rather see the first one come out again because I had so much fun on it. Shift 2 was pretty dope, but I just enjoyed the first one more. Honestly, I really don't know why, but I just did. After that, though, guys, we had the next Need for Speed game, which I haven't played this one, but I've heard so many great things about it. Need for Speed The Run came out in 2011. Let me know your thoughts on this one in the comments below. I am so dang tempted to actually play this one because it looks so dang fun, and it also apparently had one of the better storylines to it with the way that it was structured and stuff, and that does actually kind of make me want to play it. But let me know what you guys think if that game was actually remastered. Would you like to see a new Need for Speed The Run in the future if that was a new Need for Speed game, or would you rather just see a remade Need for Speed The Run from 2011? After that, though, the last Need for Speed I am going to mention on this list is Most Wanted 2012. This one I'm going to guess right off the bat that players might be like, no, bro. We want '05, do not remaster 2012, or at least give us '05 and 2012 together. That would be kind of dope, like a Most Wanted like bundle of remasters or something, even though that sounds incredibly cheesy, but hey, something like that could end up working. Despite a lot of the hate on Most Wanted 2012, I did enjoy it. I did actually like racing fast. The police were super fun on that one, and I would say even to this day the multiplayer design was basically on point. But if I had to guess, though, like an actual remaster, like a remake, most players are probably going to want something like Most Wanted '05 over something like 2012. Now, if somebody was to ask me this question, which Need for Speed games would I like to see remastered? Personally, guys, I'm probably going to get some fighting in the comments with this one, but I'm obviously going to pick Most Wanted 2005. I think that would be a dope game to bring back, especially with the next Need for Speed game coming out in 2026, to where I would say having like a remaster would make a bit of sense. But Most Wanted '05, though, the next game I'd honestly have to pick is probably going to be something like Need for Speed Carbon. Never really got to play that one, but it did look pretty dang dope. Then the next one for me, though, would probably be Need for Speed Shift, the first one in 2009. Love that game so much. I'm not sure if players would like to see that one remastered, but really did enjoy Shift, at least the first one anyway. Whereas the second Shift obviously didn't do all that great. And then the last Need for Speed I wouldn't mind would most likely be Need for Speed The Run. But again, I haven't played that one, so I can't go, oh yeah, guys, get rid of all the other Need for Speed games, bring this one back, and they're going to be like, blocked. You okay there, bud? Because I think your insight is starting to dwindle a bit. And I would probably be like, yeah, bro, you're probably right. Shouldn't bring Need for Speed The Run back where we have the other great Need for Speed games. Or here's a thought. Let's bring all of the old Need for Speed games back onto the newer consoles. That way we can still play them even if they're not a remaster. You know, just a thought if that was actually possible. But you know what, guys? Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments below. Which Need for Speed game around that entire time period from Most Wanted onwards or even before would you guys like to see actually be remastered? What is going to be your number one pick? Also, what is your top three picks that you would honestly love to see make a return on the newer gen consoles? I have to admit right now, seeing Hot Pursuit 2010 being remastered was pretty dope, but you know what though, it did make me ask a question. Which Need for Speed are they going to do next?